Welcome back to the Transfer Show. We're going to talk Champions League draw. We've all been gasping in here, which means, Andy, tell them if they don't know.
Well, you can talk about a group taking shape. PSG, Dortmund, Milan. Semi-called it, didn't we? Newcastle United. Oof. The Glory Knights are coming back to St James's Park. There's no two ways about it. Maybe a little bit sooner and all at once than they expected them to. You know what? I think this is a terrific draw for Newcastle United. I mean, these are three absolutely huge games at which the atmosphere at St James's will be awesome. And funnily enough, I don't think it's a group that needs to fill them with as much fear as the names might suggest. Of course, Milan getting to the semi-final last season, but a team in semi-reconstruction at the moment, post-Ibrahimovic. Got a few players in, including Pulisic, including Loftus-Cheek this summer, and hoping to do a few little things tomorrow. PSG moving past their Galacticos era. It's Mbappe and the rest. Now they've got a few things to do as well. And Borussia Dortmund, who have had a very, very unconvincing start to the season, post-Jude Bellingham.
Do you know what's really interesting?
Go on.
I was just reminiscing there for a moment of Eddie Howe's first games in management. Darlington away.
Yes.
And then Rotherham away. He lost both of them. Wickham at home, Luton at home, Lincoln away, Shrewsbury away, Accrington at home. And now you've got some of the greatest institutions in European football. What a challenge for Eddie Howe. And he will absolutely relish this because not you know, a lot of people say they're just there to make up the numbers and perhaps the group
they're not.
Might just take the pressure off. But within that group, within that dressing room, within that management team, there will be a belief that they can upset the big boys.
And the other thing to note is the fact that this is the last year that you can finish third and get into the Europa League. Because, of course, that will change with the new format of the Champions League after this season. So maybe another little opportunity for Newcastle United. It seems like a bit of a weird segue from here, but we've also got the final group results for Manchester United and Manchester City. Bayern, Manchester United, Copenhagen and Galatasaray, or as I now like to call them, Mauro Icardi's Galatasaray. And Manchester City, Leipzig, who follow them around like a bad smell in this competition. Crvena Zvezda, Red Star Belgrade, and Young Boys, the Swiss champions.
Okay,
City will be happy with that.
They will take that. So, Wilf Zaha against United, one of his former teams. Let's talk Romelu Lukaku.
We've also had Arsenal's group complete now. It's Sevilla, Arsenal, PSV, Lens. That will be a very atmospheric away game for those Arsenal fans.
What about Celtic? What's going on with them?
I've not seen yet. I'll catch up on that.
OK, keep an eye on Celtic for us. Let's talk Romelu Lukaku, Dharmesh. Is his deal done?
Done. Roma have confirmed the signing of Romelu Lukaku from Chelsea. He will join on a straight loan as we expected. No option or obligation attached to that deal at all. Roma will pay a loan fee which could rise to between £7 and £8 million, and that depends on performance-related conditions. We can see the video how he was announced here. I mean, look at Rome. You can't go wrong, can you? When you're making an announcement of a player. This is absolutely fantastic. Roma will cover Lukaku's wages. That's after he agreed to take a pay cut for the remaining 3 years of his Chelsea contract. And in exchange almost for that, a release clause believed to be £38 million has also been inserted in Lukaku's contract.
What about Trevor Chalobah?
This one looks like it's in the balance now because earlier on we were thinking Bayern Munich were going to get their man on a permanent deal. From Chelsea. And we think that Chalobah was going to travel to Munich once the final details of that had been agreed. Two things. Time is running out, of course, because remember, the deadline is tomorrow, but in Germany it's at 5 p.m. our time, not 11 p.m. So there's more of a deadline for them. And our colleague at Sky in Germany, Florian Plettenberg, is now throwing a lot of doubt on this deal happening. He is now saying that because Chelsea want to do a sale, that's not something that Bayern want to do. They want to do a loan or a loan with an option or it turns into an obligation. So that's where this deal may stall and Bayern may now go back in for the Southampton defender, Bella Kotchap, as an alternative to Chalobah if this deal is off. But definitely
Although
want to watch.
Dortmund interested in him.
They are.
And there's also a deadline within the deadline in Germany because they have a transfer list at 12 midday their time. You have to be on that transfer list if you're a possible mover. Otherwise, you can't possibly be on the 5 o'clock
almost
beating
like
our
a deal
deadline.
sheet here.
Yes,
with
but a very,
2 hours. That's a very advanced
early one. While
Yeah.
you're still enjoying your breakfast
So
pretzel.
effectively, the deadline's midday tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. The other thing we have to say, you asked about Celtic before,
Yeah, go on.
Mike. Group E, Feyenoord, Atletico, Lazio, who've had a very poor start to the season in Italy, and Celtic.
Will Celtic like that? Fancy that?
There's some interesting away trips there. Atletico had a very good start to the season. Feyenoord still got Arne Slot in charge after he turned down the approach from Tottenham, of course. And Lazio having a tough start under Maurizio Sarri with Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, their best midfielder, having got off to the Saudi Pro League. So I don't think that's completely impossible for Celtic.
OK, before we go from this hour mark, quick line on Brennan Johnson. What have you got?
Yeah, he's a player that's attracting a lot of interest, isn't he? No question about his ability in the Premier League, and he's done tremendously well for Steve Cooper. Spurs are holding further talks with Nottingham Forest over a potential deal. There's been no bid yet. Forest want £50 million for their star player. We'll give you more in the next hour on this one, but it's definitely one to watch between now and tomorrow's deadline.
Yeah, and there have been developments on João Cancelo leaving Manchester City to go to Barcelona. We'll keep you updated with that. So we've had the Champions League draw, which we will talk you through completely in the next hour. Newcastle are going to have some fun, that is for sure. Manchester United, possibly a tough one. City will be happy. Arsenal will be happy. We'll talk more about that in the next hour. And we've got every single breaking bit of transfer news that is happening right here on The Transfer Show. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.